Hey, welcome to the Choose Joy podcast. I'm your host, Andy Womack, and I am so excited for today's episode. I have my good friend, County Commissioner Ryan Baty in Sedgwick County, also Chairman, Sedgwick County Commission, and he's been a dear friend for a long time. Got to play baseball together back in the day.
Long time ago.
But this man is incredible. Not only is he County Commissioner Ryan Baty, but he's father of four. Husband to Alicia, which is probably one of the most important things. Former pastor, but still preacher of the word. Business owner, entrepreneur, man of many talents, but I get to call him friend, and it's a true honor. And so he's joining us today to talk about all things joy. And there's a lot of places we could go, but I'm just so glad that you're here with us today.
Man, that's kind. Sometimes I speak at events and I hear people with the bio and read the bio, and I always think to myself, what are they thinking? They're thinking, man, this guy is a mattress selling, washed up athlete, preaching politician. They're probably thinking, I need to get out of the room.
He's going to sell me something. I don't know what it is.
No,
but
you're kind, man. I appreciate your friendship, appreciate your leadership in this community.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's an honor to get to run with friends that are just doing incredible things. And one of the things that I have always truly loved about your leadership style, Ryan, is yes, you can go in, just like you're saying, you can go into a room and speak and do amazing things, but the level of energy and joy that you carry is not circumstantial, right? I noticed that it is something that whether you're talking about really hard stuff with mental health, whether you're talking about really hard stuff with foster care, there is a hope that you carry that's like these things are not all gone. Like we have solutions. We are the people who are positioned to go and solve these hard things. But a thing that I feel like you can carry in all of those is, man, if we can give people joy to go solve these things, like it doesn't have to be the oppression of, well, we just have to do it because our community is falling apart. But let's find joy in doing it. Can you talk about, for you in your leadership, how maybe joy has been a part of that? You know, we were just talking about how the Bible mentions over 400 plus times this idea of joy. Yeah. Right? It's part of the kingdom of heaven. Like, talk to me, how important has joy been in your life?
It's a significant aspect for a lot of reasons. I mean, I can think of a couple things off the top of my head, but what I love about this type of podcast is we can go a little deeper.
Oh, come on.
So there's a couple things. First is experience molds you and shapes you. In business and in life, and in sports, I had a lot of highs and a lot of lows. The highs were incredible, and they were big highs. The lows were also rather incredible and seismic. And those lows, when I look back, those lows in my life are what shaped me more than anything. Some bouts with depression, bouts with incredible financial loss, some seasons in my life where with a lot of betrayal, particularly in business and friendships. And the outcome of that was I was better. I was stronger. The outcome of that was I drew closer to Jesus. And as you know, as you draw closer to Jesus, what manifests in you are the fruit of the Spirit. And one of those fruit, obviously, is joy. Yeah. Joy is a position. It's an identity. Happiness, unhappiness, those are external things. So experience matters. That's why sanctification, as we teach the Bible and teach the process of drawing closer to Jesus, it's a journey. Yeah. And the further you are in the journey, the more mature you become in your faith. So experience matters. The other thing that matters is just this perspective on choice. You have to, I love this aspect, this phrase of choose joy. In my job as a county commissioner, I get a lot of data, man. Every day I get data, and you can look at the news and see challenges, but I get the data behind that. And there are days I sit at my desk. There's days I've sat there and just wept. Wow. At some of the things that I have to go through and uncover and the conversations I have to have. So you have to choose joy in that moment. But again, we have joy because of our identity in Christ. We have joy because our hope, we know what's to come. We have joy because we know we're called. We are the solution to the problems in this world. We have the answers. So that when you choose that perspective and that mindset, joy is a natural byproduct of that.
That's so good. You're hitting on something that I want to go back to, because it's the idea that um, people think that government. Let's talk about government. You and I talk about government all the time, and even why you got into it, because there
Yeah.
was this maybe government overreach or different things that government solving it. But the idea that joy can be found in being a civic servant.
Oh yeah.
Like, can you talk about how you went from selling mattresses to being a pastor and saying, "Hey, I actually am positioned right now to go and make change,"
That's
because
it.
I think most people think that, well, I've never been a politician. I
Sure.
didn't study political science. What do I have to offer? And you're like, no, I can actually take joy
That's
in
it.
my position in the community to go make change. Can you just like,
That's it, brother.
why did you get into this space?
Well, I think this is where the church has a broader responsibility and opportunity to teach about vocational ministry. Because
Mm,
many times this idea that most people and many Christians have is that ministry only happens behind a pulpit, and that is a lie. I mean,
come on.
that's a false premise. Is the most important ministry position we have is in our home to
Hmm.
begin with, but we have to view ministry as activity, and that activity takes place no matter where we are. It's about being salt and light.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I saw from behind the pulpit, I love to teach the word, and I love teaching the Bible. I love to be an expository teacher, to dig in verse by verse and contextual studies. I feel alive
So
when I'm
fun.
teaching the
Yeah.
Bible, but I also feel alive when I'm serving people.
Come on.
And what we saw in our community is a couple things. We saw some incredible challenges to where I felt that I was uniquely positioned, not because of my experience in business and in sports and in ministry. I was uniquely positioned because of my worldview. And I
Mm,
don't say this a whole lot publicly, but I felt like we needed Christian leaders at the table to help
yeah.
shape the outcome,
Yeah. Yeah.
because Christian leadership gets above partisan politics. Christian leadership understands Imago Dei and the value of people.
Yeah.
Christian leadership has a hope and approaches things with a joy. Christian leadership, on the backside of COVID, where a lot of people have some PTSD and are a little calloused and rigid and
Yeah.
socially awkward, frankly, Christian leadership walks in the room and changes the environment. And I felt like it was needed in this community. I was frustrated at some things on a policy level, on a practical level. But what I saw was opportunity more than anything, man, where there's real opportunity. And I wanted our worldview at the table to shape the outcomes. And that's what gave me the courage and really the just the desire to involve myself in
Yeah.
this space, which historically I never thought I'd want to be here.
That's so cool. Okay. Tell me, you've been in this position for a little over a year
Yeah.
in this role. Tell me kind of what you've seen, the shift in mindset
Yeah.
that's happened in our community. It was interesting talking to, or coming off the prayer breakfast. We just had the prayer breakfast not long ago, and
That was some church, wasn't it?
and
We had church.
we
brother.
had church. We had church, and so if you haven't seen the Sound of Freedom, or what is it?
Possum Trot.
The Sound of Hope,
Yes.
Possum Trot is what the name is. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go and watch it. It's going to be incredible. It's an incredible movie that's currently out, and so get excited, because I think what's happening is Bishop Martin, who the story is about, he said after the prayer breakfast, "Hey, something special is happening here in
Mhm.
Wichita. Something special
Mhm.
is happening, and God's on the move."
Come on.
And so if you take what you've experienced pre-roll, what you've seen now, and then kind of your vision for what you feel like is happening in the community,
Yeah.
what do you see from your vantage
Yeah,
point?
I'm more hopeful than I've ever been. And if you look at data, it would not suggest my position of hope. There's 1,300 kids in foster care, and there's a significant impact to this community in all levels,
Yeah.
from crime to healthy families to health dynamics. There's a tie to that
Yeah.
everywhere. The homeless situation is getting rather unmanageable, frankly. It's getting worse. The jail population, although it's decreasing, the mental health and substance use that's happening, that's influencing the outcomes of our jail and juvenile detention is growing. So you look at that and you say, well, how could you be hopeful? I mean, every day you look at violent crime on the news every single day. I'm hopeful because there's people stepping into the role of leadership now that have had enough. that the
Mm.
line has been drawn in the sand and they're willing to get over all the previous obstacles, relational, um, creativity, political. They're
Yeah.
saying enough is enough.
Yeah.
We're going to get over those things and we're going to work with the spirit of unity and collaboration
Wow.
to really attack these problems directly. And what I'm most hopeful about is many times you look around, you look to your right, you look to your left, and it's fellow Christians that are walking into that. And I know, because these are my folks, man, these are my people. I know the worldview and the lens in
Yeah.
which they see these things. And we may have different ideas or political slants in some regards, but the worldview is consistent. And if I have people with a consistent worldview and they value people the way we're taught in the scriptures, the way Jesus valued people, nothing can stop us in this community. So that's why I'm hopeful. That's what's changed for me on this side now that I'm in the office for 15, 16 months now. It's like we're going places, we're doing
Yeah.
things. Like there
Yeah.
are things going to happen here that are going to really set the tone nationally for how communities engage their problems.
Wow, what I love is this is, and if you're tuning in, you're like, oh, this is just a politician talking, but no, it's reality. It's really what's happening. You know, we had John Rolfe on, with Thrive Restaurant Group a few weeks ago, and he talked about the idea that our mindset has shifted as a community. And so whether you're watching here in Wichita, you're watching back in your community, I think there's something to be said about the way that we internalize or process our decisions to choose, are we going to be a victim or are we going to be a victor?
Yeah.
I think is something that is really resonated even in the mental space.
And there's something else to be said for that, is actually having the courage to engage.
Yeah.
It's one thing to identify a problem. It's another thing to try to collaborate people to go solve a problem. It's an entirely different deal to have the courage to say, you know what, I'm going to enter the arena myself. And there's a lot of people now that have said, we know from our worldview and what the scriptures teach us is anything is left to its stagnation point or anything that's left to its default is going to decay, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we know this. Like Genesis 3 all the way through, we know things are going to decay. And the only thing that stops decay is the gospel. The only thing that stops decay is the one who claimed that I've come to give you life and life to the fullest.
Yeah.
So those with that worldview and that mindset and that drive need to enter the arena and have the courage to do it and say, enough, man. I'm going to speak life. I'm going to speak joy. I'm going to be all that I read, I'm going to be that now and be active in the space. When that happens, environments change.
Yeah.
When believers with that mindset walk into the room, things start to change. And it's not because of what you say, it's because of who is living in you.
Yeah.
And we just have to have that courage, man, to get in the arena and say, we're going to contend for righteousness.
Yeah, that is so good. You know, it's taking the Sunday Christian and throwing it out the window, right? I think we have, as a Big C church, have missed the mandate to go and make disciples, right?
That's right.
And we have become really comfortable in our seats on Sunday, checking the box. I did my Christian duty. And it's like, oh, actually, there was nothing I saw about the early church. The Christian duty was sitting and listening to one person talk.
So we have, not only, I think, have we, and this is not a universal comment.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people all across the globe, Christians that are doing mighty things.
Mm-hmm.
I think by and large, many in the American church have not just missed the mandate on our creating disciples and training disciples. I think we've missed the mandate on our responsibility to shape community.
Yeah, that's it.
It's like we legitimately have a responsibility given to us at creation to shape community.
Mm-hmm.
That is our charge. That is our call. And the way in which we do that, I think, has also been misperceived.
Yeah.
This isn't Christian nationalism to where we plant the Jesus flag and we try to make a theology or to push our theology all throughout government. That's not what I'm talking about at all.
Yeah.
I'm talking about being salt and light in spaces and loving people and bringing value to space and contending for our worldview and our action, not just our words. That we are called to shape these outcomes. If Christians took that mindset and were active, would we have a foster care problem? Would we have a homelessness problem? 80% of the kids in UST 259 right now live under the poverty level. Could we move the needle in this community in a big way? And I just choose to believe that we can, man. I
Yeah.
just choose to believe we can because the scriptures I read suggest that that's what happens when Christians activate the space. And I stand by faith that that's what we're called to do.
So good. One of the scriptures or chapters I guess the Lord gave me at the beginning of the year was Acts 4. It's this idea that okay, you've got Peter, right, who just got off of Acts 2 and he preaches the gospel.
Yeah, I know.
And then he comes off of that, and then they heal the man at the beautiful gate, right? And they walk in, and everybody's dumbfounded by the miracle that had happened, right? And they're celebrating. They were told not to, don't do this again. Don't preach in the name. He's like, no, sorry, I'm not going to follow man. I'm going to follow the Lord. But what's so interesting is when they go back to their people after being released from prison, they're in there, and Peter starts praying for more boldness, right? And it says that the earth shook. But then at the end of that, it said, and everyone shared everything with everybody, and there was no need. Like, talk about, if you go back, well, we want to be like the early church. Okay, nobody had a need.
That's right, man.
Like, and the boldness that which they had to go into the religious settings to preach, not this, these guys are fishermen by trade. So not to preach this theological debate, but just to say, hey, let me tell you about Jesus. Healed this dude.
So we have a responsibility to ask ourselves why that's not happening now.
Yeah.
So where is it from the teaching? Are we not teaching this? Is it a courage issue? Is it a boldness issue? Why not? We can read Acts 2-4 and see the mighty miracles and the birth of the church and this and what took place in community because of it. But why not? The Holy Spirit is in us too, right? I mean, why not? And I think that we have as leaders in the church, as leaders in the community, we have to ask ourselves, how do we engage the faith community on that level and speak to them our identity? Let them understand our identity and the mission. We are uniquely qualified for that. That is our job. Shaping community is the job of the church. And when the church becomes idle and pulls in and just worries about our internal program, look around us. This is the result, right? So I think that's Christians don't speak like that, bro. We heard that. This is the job. Totally kidding. This is the job. I've seen you drive.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
This is the job of the church.
Yeah. Man, I remember when I was going through my spiritual journey. Grew up in an amazing home in a Christian environment, but was in a space in my own faith journey to say, what are the rules? What are, in the rules and relationship piece of it? But I remember a few years ago, and I think this is kind of what you're speaking to, that, and I told Tim this at one point. I said, I want to get to heaven, and I want to have Jesus ask me, man, did you believe too little or did you believe too much? Because I feel like it's more comfortable to believe the little than the much, right? I can be like, oh, that's not my problem. Foster kids are not my problem. I'm really safe and secure with this piece. But it's like, ooh, can I believe for the miraculous that all 1,300 kids in Cedar County can have a home, a Christian loving home, right? Can I believe God for that big of a thing to where he's like, man, you could have asked for every kid in Kansas, or you could have asked for every kid in the nation.
I had a similar, and mine was a little longer ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago. I had a similar season, and you were moved to the question of, was your faith big enough or small enough? I was moved differently. I was moved to asking the question, why am I not sensitive to these issues? There was a season when I heard the data and knew the data and seen the issues that were growing in the community, because I was involved in the community via ministry and business. And I had to ask myself, I should be sensitive to this issue. My heart should be shaped towards the things that move God's heart. And throughout the scriptures, you see, man, the orphan and the widow, the poor. And I wasn't softened to those issues. And I had to ask myself, there was a moment of repentance there. I had to say, God, why am I not softened to the issues that seem to move your heart? And there were a lot of reasons I had to flesh out. Some of it was political, some of it was judgmental, some of it was pride, some of it. But in the end, God softened my heart in that season to be sensitive to the issues of the vulnerable in our community. And that was the impetus to get involved in foster care, and ultimately the impetus to get me involved into politics to begin with and government. So
that's so good. Well, I know we've been spending a little bit of time on this idea, but I'm curious. You had at the beginning of this conversation, you talked about some low moments,
Mm.
and I think sometimes we think that the idea of joy has to come when all of the circumstances are perfect. Like when my life is when I finally reach this point in my career, my bank account says this,
Yeah.
or this relationship has been this, then I'm at a position where I can choose joy. What for you was a revelation that actually I don't need this. I don't need status. I don't need governmental titles. I don't need. I This is what I need to be able to find
Yeah,
joy.
man. It came through incredible loss. So played baseball, college professionally, was injured, retired in 2005, 2006. I was going to go to law school, instead stayed home, decided to start my company in the Mattress Hub. It had incredible success, man. I mean, out of the gate, is like everything we touched just worked.
Mm.
um, and we grew to 27 stores across 3 states in a matter of like 5, 6 years. I mean,
Wow.
it was bananas. And it was great until it wasn't. And we really struggled. We had an incident in Oklahoma with a partnership down there that fell apart. Had Kansas City market was really struggling. And then I had a business partner that involved himself in some things that were rather unethical and had some personal challenges that really was impacting our business. And was forced to buy him out. So my wife and I had lost a baby at that time period. This is 2013, 2014. And everything I'd worked for about 6, 7 years was I was losing. And I didn't take a paycheck for 10 months. I had the burden of responsibility of making sure 200 people could feed their families. And I lost about 90% of my life savings. And that was a season of incredible angst. I remember driving down Mays Road, and I was actually on the phone talking to my CPA and our lawyer, and they were talking about, hey, maybe we should dissolve this. Maybe we should find a way to liquidate. And I remember something happened to me that had never happened to me in my life is I started shaking uncontrollably, and I couldn't breathe, and I was having a panic attack. I'd never had anything like that happen to me in my life. I had to pull over the car and get out. And that led to a season, like I said, about 10 months of repeated panic attacks and anxiety attacks. And the only reprieve I could find was I'd wake up 2 o'clock, 3 in the morning, and I couldn't breathe. And the only reprieve I could get is getting to my kitchen table and reading the scriptures, praying and worshiping. It was it. There was nothing else that provided me relief. In that season, for about 10 months, I grew so close to Jesus.
Wow.
That and the strength. Now, he didn't take it and wipe it away. I still lost 90% of my life savings. I still had to buy out my partner. I still had to go raise funds and sell 50% of my company to a private equity group to keep it sustained. I still had to make hard decisions. It didn't go away.
Yeah.
What changed was me.
Mm.
He carved things out of my heart that were there. Some of the pride, some of the idolatry that had settled in. I didn't grow up with a lot of means. So when I first started making money, I guarded it. It was possessive, and my emotions were tempered to my bank account, up, down, up, down, up, down. And it was old-fashioned idolatry. There's no other way to put it, man.
Wow.
And that got carved out of my heart in that season. And that process, I never want to repeat that again, man, ever. But I am so grateful for that season. I became a better businessman. I became a better husband, a better father. I became more community involved. I right-sized my emotions in relation to money and possessions. And ultimately, I grew closer to Jesus in that season. So it was in the midst of lows that God did something in me that I'm grateful for.
Gosh, that's so beautiful. One of my favorite analogies is you look at a mountain. We don't have mountains in Kansas, unfortunately, but you go to Colorado, especially during the summer, right? And you look at the mountains, and the top of the mountains, everyone wants this mountaintop experience with the Lord, but nothing grows on top of the mountain. Mm-mm. It's just desolate. It's beautiful, right, when you're up there looking. Sure. But the growth is in the valley. It's in the trees. It's in those spaces. And so I just feel like, and we're probably close with this, Ryan. You're talking about these ideas of having real panic attacks, real mental challenges, and I believe somebody's watching that maybe knows you and has never heard you talk about this, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's my current circumstance right now. But yet you're sitting here, years later,
Yeah.
full of joy, full of life, things restored, like walking in extreme favor and leadership in our community. Can you just encourage someone who's watching
Yeah.
to say, "Hey, just don't give up because like you're not alone."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that we get in relationship with Jesus and by the power of the Holy Spirit is endurance. It's not escape many times, it's endurance that we get. And it's that endurance that produces the fruit in you. The season has meaning, the season has purpose. It doesn't mean it's not painful, it doesn't mean it's enjoyable by any stretch. But that's when you have to choose joy. It's not default button in us post Genesis 3 many times. Many times default is anxiousness and panic and worry. But that process of choosing who we serve is a byproduct of what comes from that is joy. Is you have to look above it and beyond it to say, God, this is a season. You're doing something. This hurts. I don't know how long. I know you can remove things. I know that you're allowing things to fall through your fingertips for a purpose. And I just want to be with you in that purpose. I don't know what it looks like. And it's patience in the Lord. It's realizing that the ways of this world, the things of this world, all of it is temporary, man. But what is eternal is Him and His Word. And your identity in Him is what He's shaping. And I would just say endure. Be of good courage. Be strong. To know that everyone throughout the history of the scriptures that we read, this is their path, that you're in good company, that he's preparing you for greater things. He's preparing you for your destiny. And you cannot have a testimony without great suffering. You cannot be given anointing without great pressing. Like this is just the way of the way of the scriptures, the way of the this is what He does, man. I am suspicious of people that have not had pressing or suffering. I am, because I cannot relate to that. I cannot. How do you? What came of me was less judgment and more compassion. What came from that season in my life was more dependence and not independence. I was strengthened, not weakened. For those that are in this season and you're experiencing these things, hold on, press in, endure. He's doing something that will make you stronger in the long run. And just believe by faith that He's in control.
That's so good. I think the scripture, if I could add some to it, is John 15, right? Abide in me and I in you. The idea of abiding is this like grip, holding, clenching, don't let go of. And it's so interesting because in that same chapter, right, He talks about that the branches that do not bear fruit, He cuts off and throws in the fire. That's it, man. But it's those branches that are actually producing fruit, He prunes.
Yeah.
And I think we misinterpret the idea that pruning is uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
Like stuff's being cut off. You were talking about earlier, like He was
carving it out of me. I can say unequivocally, man, that successes I've had in business, in relationship, in marriage, in politics and government are direct results of what that season of my life produced in me. Unequivocally, I can say it. That does not mean I enjoyed it. It does not mean I want to repeat it. But there was fruit in that season. I think John 15 is completely accurate on so many levels. So, man, I know this is the lot for so many people right now. I even went to my doctor. He was going to put me on medication to control it. And I think medication, I think doctors are good gifts from God. I do. But I knew in that moment, it wasn't anything I needed. My anxiety was a byproduct of the pruning. I didn't need medication to control it. I needed to endure it. And God did something in me, man. Wow. He did something in me. So this is something that we have to minister to frequently in the church. But the way we minister to it can create more hope.
Yeah, that's so good. So I just want to encourage you, if you're in this season and you're feeling the weight of it and you feel like, is there even a way out? Just be reminded that He's totally with you. God is totally with you. He's not going to leave you there. He's going to produce the fruit to bear more fruit. And find somebody, call them up, ask for help if you need help. Don't isolate yourself. The last thing you could do, the worst thing you could do is do that. The enemy would love to just get you isolated by yourself. Find community, find a church, and be encouraged, because what you're going through today, my wife and I always have this saying, is like, He wastes nothing and gets you ready. He wastes nothing. God wastes nothing and gets you ready. And so Man, Ryan, thank you so much for being here. I love what you're doing for the community and how you're doing it with great integrity and humility.
Thank you.
You have a gift, and so
Well,
thank you.
likewise, I want to thank you as the chairman of the county commission in this community. I want to thank you in New Life Covenant for what you're doing.
Thank you.
You are going to have a greater impact in this community than I can ever dream of having from an elected position. And I want to encourage the church. I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you.
Come on.
Press in. We need you, church. We need you. The issues that we're dealing in this community are not going to be solved by a social program or some leader setting an elected office. They will be solved by the church. They'll be solved by Christians engaging the space. So thank you for what you are doing.
Thank you, Ryan. Well, be blessed. Have a great day and join us for our next episode.